Please like my videos, please subscribe to my channel, and please press the bell icon so that you get to know when my latest video has come. And to learn more and to find a video relevant to you, please do check out my videos list. Hello, namaskar and adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan, once more with you from your very own channel, Astro Assurance. Now we hear all kinds of stories in the media and in the news that this person did this and somebody hurt somebody was mugged, somebody was killed. But we also hear acts of kindness, and we also hear acts of support and taking care of each other. Also we also hear acts of good citizens versus not so good citizens, and outright bad citizens as well. So we bucket people into the good, not so good, or the evil, or neither good or neither bad. So we have our own standards by how we look at people, we look at their actions also. Similarly, the signs, or specifically the nakshatras, are also divided into three different types, which is the Sattvic nakshatras, the Rajasic nakshatras, and the Tamasic nakshatras. Similarly, we also have the planets, which are also divided into giving them certain qualities, and signs also have certain attributes of the same. So because of you being born with certain qualities, for example, you being born in a Sattvic nakshatra, do you then carry the attributes of the Sattvic nakshatra as qualities in your life also? Do all people who are born in the Sattvic nakshatras lead Sattvic lives, Sattvic thoughts and Sattvic actions? Do all people who are born in a Rajasic nakshatra behave like Rajasic people or Rajasic qualities? And are the people who are born in Tamasic nakshatras outright bad, or are they really evil? That's not so. We know that. And we know that we may have people in our family who may be born in a Tamasic nakshatra, but they are very good people, their actions are more Sattvic. Whereas there may be other people who are born in a Sattvic nakshatra, but probably their actions are on the border of either being Rajasic or Tamasic. Now, what is this differentiation between Sattvic, Rajasic and Tamasic? To keep it very, very simple, and to give you a very, very simple definition, Sattvic is about the simple natured people who have very strong principles and values, and lead their lives with piety and nurturing and supporting others, do for others first and less for themselves, believe more in giving, believe in serving, and believe in living a life of helping others, of giving up and submitting to the will of the Lord, and who truly are good in their actions and maybe good in their souls also, because they both affect each other. The Rajasic are the ones who are the more the good quality life people who want to lead a good life, and they care really about what kind of things they have, what kind of things they really want to enjoy. So to an extent, self-serving is the basis for a Rajasic person. They want everything good, and to an extent it borders on the greed or wanting for self. Whereas a Tamasic person is more of a crooked minded person, or the things or the thought process or the action that they do are more bordering on the crooked or the slimy or the manipulative or cheating or taking out more than they deserve. To give you a simple example, let me tell you a story. Two friends who are hungry, they are out doing some work, and they say, okay, let's go to a restaurant and eat. When they go to the restaurant, it's a little late in the evening, and so the restaurant manager says, the first friend says that, do you have anything in non-veg? He says, sir, I have only one fish. If you want, I can give that to you. So the second friend says, okay, no problem, get that fish, we will share. So the manager gets that fish, which is prepared, and then the manager, he cuts it into two pieces, but one piece is slightly bigger, another piece is slightly smaller. So the first friend, he looks at the fish, he looks at the second friend, and the second friend looks at the first friend, and then the second friend quietly takes the bigger piece of the fish and lets the smaller piece of fish for his friend. Now the first friend says, you know what, this is so greedy. Why would you do that? If I was in your place, or if I had the choice to make, I would have taken the smaller fish. So the second friend says, I knew you would take the smaller fish, and that's why, or the smaller piece of fish, that's why I left the smaller piece of fish for you. So the first friend here is acting out of a sattvic nature, where he feels that piety, taking care of others, is more important than being selfish or being greedy. The second friend wants to preserve himself or take care of himself. He doesn't bother so much about what others get or not. It is me first. So when the choice of the larger piece or the smaller fish comes, he takes the larger one. And he justifies it also, saying that, you would have taken the smaller one, so I'm not wrong, there is nothing wrong in that. You would have taken the smaller fish, and so I knew you would do that, so I took the larger one. And trying to justify his selfishness and the greed. So this is how a sattvic person would behave and a rajasic person would behave. Sattvic would act more out of selflessness, out of piety, out of care and concern for others, and taking care of others first and then self next. The rajasic person wants to take care of himself first, his or her needs first, and then if others get, they don't have a problem. Now this is one side of the story. Now what if the second friend was a tamasic friend? Then what would they do? When they land at the hotel, at the restaurant, and they ask the manager, do you have anything in non-veg? And the manager says, I've got only one fish. And if the second friend is a tamasic thinking person, he would say, no, you know what, today is a pious day and we don't eat non-veg today. Why don't we just get something, whatever you have in vegetarian? And so the manager asks his staff to prepare vegetarian meal and serves the two. But the second friend very quietly goes to the manager, acting as if he is going to the loo, and very quietly whispers in the manager's ear, you said that one fish is left, why don't you fry it and add some French fries also, and then send it to my room. I'm in 404. So this friend who wanted the entire fish to himself and acted in a crooked manner because he didn't want to share it with his friend, and so in a very crooked manner, in a very slimy manner, in a very manipulative manner, he made it feel as if he is not going to eat the fish, or he doesn't want the fish, and then later on goes and gets it for himself. So this is the utmost greed, or doing anything or using any means to get what one wants. So that is the difference between a sattvic person, a rajasic person, and a tamasic person. To put it mildly, there are various layers of sattvic people also. For example, in today's times, if there is if there are two friends and there is one piece of fish in front of them, or one fish in front of them, so one sattvic friend would say, at level 1 would say that I'm not so hungry, you eat, I'm okay, I had a lot, I overate during the lunch, so I'm not so hungry, you have it. The second level of sattvic person would say that, I'm not so hungry, I ate enough in the afternoon, I can take a small piece, you take the larger piece. The third level of sattvic person would say, we need to be fair here, let's share the fish half, and we'll try to make it as fair as possible. So let's do that. In today's time, the third kind of sattvic people are more prevalent, because equality and fairness is very, very important, and people feel that it is unfair to me if they get slightly less what they deserve, and people are ready to put up a fight for themselves and what they feel they deserve. So the level 1 of sattvic action, sattvic thoughts is kind of a little rare, where people do only for others, and others first and self next or last. So there are layers between the sattvic, the rajasic people, and the tamasic people also. My guru, he used to eat a lot of sattvic food, and he would restrict himself to very, very sattvic diet, but he had a bad temper. So I would pull his leg, I would joke with him and say, you eat all sattvic food, you have very principle, you try to live a very, very sattvic life, but you have a very tamasic temper. So he used to tell me that I'm born in a tamasic nakshatra, what do I do? And so So the inherent nature is there. So I try to do more sattvic actions. I try to lead the sattvic lives, because so that the tamasic nature is tempered. And so, which means that it is up to us not to carry the seeds which the horoscope gives us, but to try and put in the effort to lead different life rather than what is just given to us from our birth. And this is a crucial distinction, not to be just led by your horoscopes, not to be just led by your dashas and astrological placements, but truly make an effort to do what you think is right for you and right thing to do also. And so, when even if you have tendencies in your horoscope, either to be sattvic or tamasic or rajasic, it need not be that you behave in that fashion. A lot of time the other energies or the stronger energies based on your overall placements may come to the fore. So just because you are born in a nakshatra which is sattvic doesn't mean you will lead a sattvic life. Overall energies coming together will tell you what kind of overall person you are. And I have given this technique that how you are able to look at the nakshatra number of your ascendant and the rest of the 9 planets in which nakshatra they are. You add up them, and then the number that you get, when you add the numbers totally, if you get the number less than 27, you end up with whatever nakshatra. So that nakshatra more or less is the sum of all this nakshatra energies, and you will find that that nakshatra leads the way. And that nakshatra could either be a sattvic nakshatra, a rajasic or a tamasic. So that is one way to look at what is the sum total of all your nakshatra energies, whether it ends up with a sattvic, the rajasic or a tamasic energy. Second is what is your moon nakshatra, and that is also important, or called the janma nakshatra. That will give you tendencies of how your mind is working, and only from your mind your actions also come. And your ascendant nakshatra will also give you either a sattvic nature or a rajasic or a tamasic nature as an inherent quality. It need not be the final output. It is an inherent or a probability that there may be. Now, what if your ascendant nakshatra is a sattvic nakshatra, janma nakshatra is a rajasic nakshatra, and the sum total of all your nakshatras is a tamasic nakshatra? Then what are you? So, even when you add and you look at energies, you should know what kind of person you are. Are you a more selfless person doing more for others, or you are somebody who lives it up, who wants to be fair to others but also wants your own share of things, or you sometimes act out of higher greed where you don't mind bending the rules a little bit, being a little bit diplomatic or tactful or manipulative or slimy, whatever you want to call, so that you get, even if you need to use the crooked means to get your what you think you want or you deserve, you get that. So it's all up to us how you look at it. Sattvic foods are generally suggested to be those foods which are raw foods, raw vegetables, raw fruits, unprocessed foods, rather than those which are processed in the factory or cooked over fire, and a lot of spices and all that added. So avoiding all of that, avoiding all the spices and eating very simple food, are seen as sattvic food. Foods which are rich in oil, rich in sugars, rich in calories, and rich in high proteins, non-vegetarian food, they all are seen as more rajasic foods, for example. Whereas tamasic foods are seen as foods which are either rotting or they have been kept for a long time, they have just started to go bad, hard liquor, extreme spicy, extreme foods which is unprocessed, of extremely processed food rather than unprocessed, extremely processed foods which are on the brink of turning bad are seen as tamasic foods. So this is how the tamasic foods are described. It is said that what we eat also to a large extent affects our thought process. Science says to a certain extent this is also true, but may not be completely. For example, all those people who eat non-veg need not necessarily be very, very violent, very, very aggressive, and all those people who are only vegetarian need not necessarily be very, very docile, very, very sattvic. It is also up to us in what direction we take our thought process. So how we eat to a large extent does affect our thinking, but not completely. and how we think does affect our action may not be completely, because many times societal roles, societal challenges, societal principles may hold us back. Even if you want to do something, we believe in something, but knowing there are repercussions, there may be punishment, there may be penalties, so we may not go that way. We may stop before going the tamasic way. So based on how you generally think and you act, will also tell you what kind of a person are you. So if you are a person who is more selfless, who acts out of piety, for whom principles and values are very, very important, and doesn't hesitate to do more for others before doing for self, then you may be level 1, 2, 3 of Sattvic, whatever, doesn't matter, but at least you are on the road to being Sattvic, or you are already to a large extent Sattvic, but not be the highest echelon of being Sattvic. And if you like the good life, but at the same time you believe you want to live it up, but you will not take the wrong road, you will not act crooked, you will not be manipulative, you will not cheat, and you like things, but you will fight for it maybe if need be, but you will not go the wrong road to get what you want, but you like to live it up. You like to wear good clothes, you like to eat good food, rich foods, and you like the luxurious life, then you have a more Rajasic tendency in you. And the third, the Tamasic, if you don't mind being a little manipulative to get what you want, and you don't mind bending the rules even at the cost of others, even in a relationship, then you surely have a Tamasic tendency in life. So it is up to you what you want. I am not recommending X or Y, I am just telling you what it means and how your karma gets affected by whether you lead more Sattvic lives, whether you lead more Rajasic lives, and whether you lead more Tamasic lives. In various shlokas it is said that a person who leads more Sattvic life, that person has a stronger crack at moksha, no guarantees here. That person will also attract more abundance, more prosperity, and will also attract more favor from the deity, from the Supreme Lord. The person who leads a Rajasic life, that person is in pure Maya, and many times you may be kept there, though at times there is the internal struggle also to do the right thing and not to push the boundaries of going too much the luxury way or the rich life way. So there is a borderline case here, and a lot of people I have seen also who have led very, very Rajasic lives, but later on in their life they have stopped and they have tried to lead at least more simple lives or more minimalistic lives, if I can use the word. Whereas there are others also who don't care and who feel everything is fair in love and war or in life, and so they lead the life that they want, which is completely crooked. They don't care about and they also don't mind bending the rules in their own way to get what they want. So it's up to you what kind of a person you want, but Sattvic foods, Sattvic thoughts, Sattvic actions, all are very, very important, and they are all led by how you want to carry your life. So eat more Sattvic foods, they will definitely help at least to an extent how they guide your thoughts, and then try and work hard on your thought process. Be as Sattvic as possible, if not the level 1, at least try to be level 3, where you believe in fairness, you believe in equality, but at the same time you will not go the wrong way, and you don't want too much of luxury, too much of richness in your life, but you are still looking at bare minimum, which is comfortable life for you, and the rest that you get you do for others. And do that, and you will find that you will attract more prosperity, you will attract more favor, and you will find that you will get out of troubles more easier. Even in bad dasha periods, I have seen people who lead more Sattvic lives, they come out of the dasha period with more sanity, mental sanity, more peace and less losses, or even if they face more losses, they are able to take it more easily and they are not so strongly affected. People who lead more Rajasic lives, they have a huge sense of loss when they don't do good in dasha periods, or when they lose their favorite car, or they lose that job or the role, or they have to sell off their favorite houses or jewelry, so they really take it to heart. So there is definitely a problem. Whereas the Tamasic people, I have found that many times they get into challenges, they run into troubles, relationships break, they get into trouble with the laws, they get into trouble with the authorities, they get in trouble with their friends, they get into trouble at work. So in generally, if you get into trouble with people, with laws, rules, regulations, your relationships get affected and all. Think again whether you are leading a more tamasic, existence, or your mind thinks on on tamasic lines, where you think first for yourself, even if it means at the cost of others, or you think on the rajasic lines, but you don't care about others. So temper yourself, guide yourself towards more sattvic foods, sattvic thoughts. Automatically your actions will also come out of it, and you will lead more sattvic lives. And there's some energies of yours, even if you are in a tamasic, you're born in a tamasic nakshatra. For example, if you're born in the first nakshatra, Ashwini, ruled by Ketu, it's a tamasic nakshatra. And you'll be surprised. For example, Rohini, which is also supposed to be a very pious nakshatra, which is a very rajasic nakshatra, and Pushya, where Jupiter gets exalted in the sign of Cancer. Pushya is also a tamasic nakshatra ruled by Saturn, for example. So there will be varying different kinds of energies or nakshatras which bring a certain inherent quality to you. So just because you're born in a nice nakshatra, but if you have a tamasic energy behind it, you may still attract prosperity, but you may still push the boundaries, and you may also push things for greed. So temper your actions, be more mindful of what are the overall energies in your life. So do you truly know what is the overall energies in your life? Are you more sattvic? Are you more rajasic? Are you more tamasic? And based on that, control your urges, control your actions, and lead more better life, so that you have a better crack at the favors of the Supreme Lord, and you lead life more, which you have a stronger crack at moksha itself. So friends, like this video, share this video, and if you're looking for a personal consultation from me, please reach out to me at the links given below. Until some other time with some other video, this is your friend, astrologer and guide Irfan signing off. Ciao.